Welcome to the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. We're here breaking down Thursday Night Football, giving you guys a little betting preview of that game. We're talking about our favorite spread picks for Sunday, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, man, the people in the room. G Money Grant Mitchell, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Tanner. Not to toot my own horn here, but it has been a solid start to the NFL season so far. Writing spread picks for every single game over at WSN.com. Week 1 wins. Week 2 wins. Underdogs have been treating me well. Favorites have been treating me well. I'm feeling good overall. I'm confident right now, and that's the best thing you can be as a bettor.
I didn't make a lot of money this weekend, but I did profit, and I was down so much money. Like I was down a big chunk of money just from Notre Dame. That was a terrible game. And then I roll into Sunday. I was sitting there like 11 o'clock on the couch after the Notre Dame game was over. And I was like, how am I going to get this money back? And I said, you know what? Let's look to the NFL slate. Hit the Patriots plus 3.5, parlayed with the Eagles plus 7.5, came back, hit a Red Sox bet, and then won on Sunday Night Football, won on Monday Night Football. It's just what we do here on the podcast. We just win.
What did I tell you? I told you, throw all your concerns out the window. The Patriots are going to win that game. You got nothing to worry about.
They shouldn't have won the game. They should not have won the game.
Now, it wasn't going to be close until they got the punt return touchdown.
If they don't return the kick for a touchdown, I have no faith in them driving down the field and scoring a touchdown. As good as the offense was, I still think they would have folded in that spot just because they were tired. It was late. The pre-snap penalties were a problem. But I give them credit for returning the kick for a touchdown. But in no world do I have any faith in them to go down and score if they don't get the kickoff return for the touchdown.
Can I just say this? We got to get into the picks. We got a bunch of picks coming up. So to the people, if you're new on the channel here, just give us like 2 more minutes. We're going to be getting into that. But can I just call it a couple of teams they've made my disgrace list. A couple of teams are a disgrace. I bet the Bengals minus 3.5. So I'm as thankful as anybody they covered. If you're the Jaguars, Liam Cohen, you got the ball on the 7-yard line on 4th and 5. You've just been stonewalled the first 3 plays. And you go for it up 3 late in the game. Now, I know the Bengals did end up scoring a touchdown there, but that was the dumbest thing you could have done because the Bengals could have kicked the field goal and just sent that game to overtime. He went for it for no reason. I don't know how Jake Browning comes in the second quarter or the third quarter, whichever it was, has 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. You have a lead and you don't come through with it. So that was a disgrace. And then the other team that's a disgrace, not the Indianapolis Colts, the Denver Broncos. I had them at -1 against the Colts. You're leading pretty much the entire way. Yes, the Colts were playing well in the first half, but Bo Nix, I'm not a Bo Nix guy. You know that. You make fun of me for it. He was sensational in the first half. You come out in the second half, it's a totally different. He had like 20 yards in the second half, something like that. Throws an interception. The Colts walk away. They steal it at the end. Those are my 2 disgraceful teams I got to shout out.
I think Liam Cohen's an idiot. I think Baker Mayfield made Liam Cohen. I think Baker Mayfield made Dave Canales. Baker Mayfield is the star who just makes head coaches. Liam Cohen was yelling at Trevor Lawrence for like a second down pass early in the game or middle of the game when he didn't put it on whoever's chest. He was like hitting his chest on the
hit him in the numbers.
Yeah, hit him in the numbers. He's yelling at him. Like that play was a non-factor play. It's not like it's 3rd down game on the line. It's like you got to settle your quarterback down in that situation. So Trevor and him don't seem to be bonding too well, even though after the game Trevor did defend him. So I agree with your take there. I think the Colts are a good football team. Like the Broncos made mistakes, and obviously it wasn't just on Bo Nix. It was the whatever the penalty was hitting the long snapper at the end of the game, leverage penalty. So I still think the Broncos are going to be fine, but I think the Colts are just bottom line a good football team. So if they figured out a way to shut down Bo Nix, they're the Colts. They're still going to be okay this year based on what we've seen the first 2 weeks.
I got to say, I made a draft in one of my fantasy football leagues, a dynasty league. So we carry it over year to year. I had drafted Travis Hunter with the 2nd pick. I could be proven wrong, but I wasn't high on Travis Hunter as high as I would have been on some other players, but I knew I had to take him 2nd because he was going to be gone, and I figured I could flip him. So you know what I did? I traded Travis Hunter and a 2nd for Emeka Egbuka and 2 firsts. And I feel like Egbuka might just be the better player overall. Yeah. And I got 2 firsts for the cost of a 2nd on top of that.
Ibuka is unbelievable. Ibuka is a better receiver than Travis Hunter. Obviously, he can't play defense, but Travis Hunter out there costing his team games with the PI at the end. I didn't think it was pass interference, but still, I would much rather This is where we get into the situation with Travis Hunter, where it's like he's going to sell t-shirts. Obviously, he's a freak athlete. He's an unbelievable two-way player. But in the end of the day, the NFL is not about playing two ways. It's about who can play one way the best. So I would rather take the guy that's played one way over the guy who's played two ways at a really high level. I take Emeka Egbuka, who's just been fantastic.
Yeah, 100%. He looks like the best receiver the Bucs have, which is crazy considering Mike Evans is there and Godwin's going to come back eventually.
Evans caught some passes last night, which was nice, but overall, yeah, it's been the Emeka Egbuka show. Bucky Irving's fantastic. That's the steal of your draft 2 years ago, or last year. Third? I think he was a third rounder.
He might have been. He might have been later than that.
But he's fantastic. Anyways, Grant, while you look that up, let's talk about WSN.com.
He was in the fourth round.
Fourth round. Okay, fourth round. Well, while Grant was looking that up, let's talk about the World Sports Network, WSN.com. We are presented by WSN.com. Guys, make sure you go down, link in the description below. Check out the articles, the promo codes, the picks. We got a lot of sports betting info on there across all sports, not just the NFL, to get you guys set up and successfully betting. And Grant, why don't you tell them why they need to subscribe to Ride the Line podcast?
Tanner and I are coming out with picks for all the primetime games, all the weekday games, all the weekend games, basically every game throughout this NFL season. We got betting picks. We got winning picks, as you've seen from the first 2 weeks. And we're going to carry that momentum through the rest of the season. So make sure you do hit that subscribe button. If you want to support us, if you like the picks, if you hate us, but you think we're funny, hit the like button. It takes 2 seconds out of your day. It is the number one way you can support the channel. Costs you absolutely nothing other than 2 seconds out of your day. And it makes sure that we get these videos out there and we get to spread them out into the algorithms.
100%, guys. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. And let's talk a little bit about this Bills-Dolphins game. Before we get into the picks, we're just going to talk about the landscape of the league for both of these teams right now. Big difference between the Dolphins and the Bills coming into this game. Miami is playing literally for their head coach. So usually when a coach is on the verge of getting fired, and I think they do like Mike McDaniel. I can't say they don't. He seems like a cool dude. He seems like one that you want to play for. We don't really hear a lot about the players hating Mike McDaniel. Or like Matt Eberflus or something, like you knew he was an idiot. He had the reputation of an idiot. Mike McDaniel, I think since he dresses so cool, he doesn't have that same reputation, but his teams can't play defense. Like that's the bottom line there. So if I'm a Dolphins player, and I'll get your opinion on this, Grant, are you coming in this game fighting hard for your coach, or are you like folding, hoping he gets fired? Because I can't get a read on how they think of Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, it's interesting. I agree that I don't think they hate him, but I also think they might view him as a cool guy, a friend, more than a coach. And that's I feel that reflected in the quarterback. I feel that reflected in the way they play. I feel that reflected in they can't win cold weather games. They can't beat teams above 500. That's just the general vibe that I get. They don't feel like a team of fighters. We know that they have skill, they have talent, but they already maximized that. We saw that, I think it was probably 2 years ago when they hit their peak on that. And ever since, they've just been regressing. It's been getting worse and worse. So, I mean, whether or not you're playing your hardest depends on the player, but I do think the Mike McDaniel era is done at the end of this year, if not before then.
Yeah, I don't know if he gets fired because, like, you can't be going to this game thinking you're going to win it if you're the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, there's always a chance, but people are saying, well, if he gets blown off the field on Thursday, he's getting fired on Friday. Well, I imagine he's going to get blown off the field. Like, there is pretty much a higher outcome of him getting blown off the field than if he keeps this game close. So I don't know if that should show you anything you need to know. Like, if you want to fire him. His teams can't play defense. If you want to keep him, this game shouldn't really change your opinion on that.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. I mean, if you're a bad team, your opinion should not be swayed by when you go against maybe the best team in the NFL.
And let's just say, too, this past weekend against Patriots, they're a better team than the Patriots. Like, I will stand on that. The Patriots looked really – if the Dolphins can tighten up their defense a little bit. Obviously, Bradley Chubb's good. They need a little more help there. But offensively, like, these teams are on two different levels. The Dolphins are so much better than the New England Patriots. It's not even close. And their slow start, if they would have come out running all the motions and the quick passes down the field and stuff early, the first couple drives when the Patriots did have some success on defense, they probably still win the game. I think the Dolphins come out and win the game.
Yeah, but they do have Tua turning the ball over in bunches. So
he had one.
I mean, the end of the game was an absolute disgrace from Tua to throw that interception. I don't know what he's saying. And then on fourth down to take a sack, like that is the time to throw an interception. Just throw it as high in the air as you can. If you can't see anybody else, put the ball up. You know what gives you a 0% chance to convert a fourth down? Taking a sack.
Yeah, It's hard to. Like, I don't want to say neither of us played an NFL quarterback. It's hard. Like I do want to say that too. That's another thing. We get critical on these guys. Like I see it with the players who get mad a lot. Like we've never played at that level. Like we never played quarterback in the NFL. So it's obviously hard. It's hard, but like these guys make millions of dollars too. So you got to be better.
Yeah. Now, speaking of millions of dollars, we know that Tua's making millions, Tyreek's making millions, Josh Allen's making millions. There's a lot of money at stake in this game, but these two teams are pretty far apart.
Yeah, and the Bills come into this one after blowing the Jets off the field, which I was kind of surprised with. I thought they'd win the game. I thought they'd cover. I didn't think it would be a massacre. Like the Jets looked like the old Jets. And it's funny too, Grant. You got all these teams that just consistently year after year, no matter what they do, new coach, new GM, new quarterback, they just can't win. I'll think of a couple: Bears, Jets, Giants. They can't get it done.
Yeah, Browns, add them to the list.
Yeah, add them to the list. But the Bills look good right now. I still don't think the Bills are as good as the Ravens at all. I will stand on that.
So, do we want to start here? We go with the spread, and then we jump into some player props.
Yes. Do you think the Bills are better than the Ravens?
I would say no.
There you go.
I could be wrong, and I can also change my mind. But right now, I'm saying no.
We'll start with pick on the money line. Do you have any interest in taking the Miami Dolphins plus 530 in this game? Yeah, let me try to. I'm not taking them, but let me try to sell you on this. All right, you got a team coming in here, going up north. It's not cold yet, so they're going to be just fine. You have a coach who's fighting for his life. You have a team offensively who at least looked a lot better in game 2 than they looked in game 1. You have a defense that didn't look great in their game, game 1 or game 2. But the bottom line is, playing for your coach, you got a guy in Josh Allen who might be on top of the world right now. Bills could be overlooking them Thursday Night Football. Is it worth sprinkling a 5-1 money line there?
Absolutely not. Next question.
All right.
No.
So
I appreciate the effort, but no.
But you know what? You never know. It's the NFL. Anyone can win. But I will be taking the Bills with my survivor pick this week and all my survivor picks probably. So Bills minus 12.5, Dolphins plus 12.5. We saw it last week. The Browns had a lot of action for a plus 11.5 against the Ravens. A lot of quote unquote sharp money was on that side of the line because it's a divisional game and it's so hard to win by that in the NFL and blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line is, we saw it last week with the Browns. They just couldn't score. Like they couldn't put together drives when they needed to. This is why I'm a little more on Miami in this case for like taking 12.5 points. Not saying I'm going to do it, but the bottom line is they can score. That is the biggest perk of their team. The ability to go down, score, run confusing offenses, win with speed. And that would be the one reason I side more with like a plus 12.5 spread here rather than laying 12.5 with the Bills.
So I did take that 12.5, 11.5, whatever it was with the Browns last week, got burned by it. But that doesn't mean that the trends didn't support it. I think the Browns had covered that line like 6 of their last 9 times they matched up with the Ravens. This made it 6 of 10, but that's still 60%. And 60% in betting is winning pretty comfortably. You're doing a great job if you're hitting 60% of your spread bets. So in this particular game, not saying that everything is apples to apples here. It's different teams, different years, different coaches, all that stuff. I get it. But I am going to take the Dolphins. It's a short week for both teams. So they're not going to be as prepared for one another as you would think as they would in any other week. It's in Buffalo, but like you said, it's not cold yet. It is a divisional matchup, and we can say the Dolphins are a dead team walking. Mike McDaniel's a dead man walking. But teams, they're still competitors. They still get up. They want to beat their rivals. These teams know each other well enough, and this is a huge line. You're asking the Bills to win by at least 2 touchdowns. And like you said, unlike the Browns, everything had to be defense. If you're covering 12.5, it's because the Ravens didn't score more than 20 points. The Dolphins could score 28 on the Bills and still lose by a lot, but they would probably cover this 12.5 point line. So I don't think the Dolphins are good. I think Tua's not their quarterback for the future. I think Mike McDaniel's getting fired by the end of the year, but they can score. And when it's a divisional matchup, short week, that's what you need. And I do think they can cover.
Yeah, I mean, last year they lost by 21 to the Bills, and then they lost by 3 to the Bills. So the game that they lost by 3 was in Buffalo in November. Going back to 2023, we're starting to get back to when the Dolphins were actually a legitimate football team. They lost by 28 to the Bills, and then they lost by 7 to the Bills. So you're 1-1 each year. And then back in 2022, which is the first we'll go back, they beat the Bills by 2, and then they lost by 3. So yeah, I mean, they play them tight, Listen, yeah, the Dolphins have no chance of like blowing the Bills off the field in this game. Like, let's make that clear. Like if they're covering, it's probably like, hey, 10 points and we might need a backdoor touchdown kind of thing. But I still can't lay 12.5 points for a team going against an offense that can score, because we saw it when the Dolphins are cooking offensively. Tua's going to throw his picks, but when that team is on offensively with all their motions, they're really hard to stop.
And also, we've seen this with the Bills play calling in recent years. When they're playing inferior teams, there has been more of that run the ball, control the clock sort of style. Josh Allen's not taking huge deep shots down the field. He actually, I don't want to say stat pads, because he doesn't, but he gets his big stats against big teams. Normally it's in these lesser games. I mean, yes, they did just beat the Jets. I understand, but his stats weren't incredible. It was just kind of a dominant team victory. So that also kind of plays into this, where the Bills can be up by 10 points and no, Dolphins have no chance of winning this game. So we don't need to go pedal to the metal.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't throw a touchdown last week. So coming off what he did against the Ravens, that's definitely a little bit of a letdown, but it's just how they play against these teams. So I like that point a lot. So yeah, I'll take the Dolphins plus 12.5. I'll probably do a teaser with them. I think it's a really good game for a teaser because you can get upwards of 17.5 with that. And again, if they win by 17, I tip my cap. Like if the Bills go in there, I would say 20 plus, because that's probably what it has to be. I will tip my cap. Anyways, the total, Grant, 49.5. I hate NFL totals. I just want to say that I hate totals in general. I don't know about you, but I don't really mess around with totals much in college or the NFL. I've done it a few times, and they don't. This excitement of watching a game, betting a total, it doesn't do it for me.
It is also, I think it's harder to get a read on what style of game it's going to be and how that directly lines up with the total. For example, if you think the Dolphins, let's talk about Monday night. Let's say you thought the Chargers were going to cover the spread because you thought they would get an interception off of Geno Smith, and they ended up getting 3, but you thought the turnover battle would shift in the Chargers' favor, and that's why they would cover the spread. That makes sense. When you're talking about total perspective and you say Geno Smith's going to turn the ball over so the Raiders aren't going to score, it's like, okay, well, if we follow that scenario, maybe Geno Smith throws an interception, sets the Chargers up in short field. They score a touchdown. Now, because the Raiders are trailing, they're incentivized to throw the ball more. So that leads to a quicker 2-minute sort of offense, and they end up scoring. The way that you can conceptualize a game, it doesn't translate to total the way that it does for a spread.
Yeah. In this one, though, I can literally see a world where the game goes over or under and both teams cover. Like the Dolphins to cover 12.5, they could put up a ton of points. Buffalo could put up a ton of points. They cover. It could also be a game where the Bills just don't have it offensively. The Dolphins do enough offensively. It stays under. The Bills, if the Bills cover the spread, I'm more so thinking the game goes under. That's the one way that I would lean, just because I don't think the Dolphins are putting up a lot if that's the case. But I think for the Dolphins, at least to cover, it could go either way.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Dolphins plus 12.5. I really don't have much of a lean here on the total.
I will say go under for the total, because I need to give a pick for the people. And I think that the Buffalo Bills defensively will do enough to keep Tua in check. I don't think they'll be as confused with the motions as the Patriots were last week, because that was a total difference maker. And I think we're going to see a lot of James Cook in this game, run game, not going to see a ton of Josh Allen throwing, and that will ultimately lead to an under. It's going to be tight, though. This could be like 28. I think like 28-17 is a realistic score in this game. 31-17. Are they still covering there?
No,
yeah.
That would be Bills.
31-20. 31-20.
I like where your head's at.
That goes over. So, I mean, we're close there. It's right on the cusp.
Yeah, I like where your head's at. I think that's right. I think a 28-17 sounds like the appropriate number for this game.
Yeah, 28-17, game stays under. And if it goes over, I'm thinking 31-20. So,
player props here.
So yeah. Should we start with some touchdown scores?
So I made a little 3-leg parlay. I don't have any touchdown scores, but feel free to give me your thoughts, and then I will let you know what I got.
All right, you go first.
Well, okay.
I thought you were 3-leg parlay. I thought you were going 3-leg parlay.
Oh, you want? Okay, I thought you meant go first with the touchdown scores.
No,
okay,
3-leg parlay.
Okay, so I moved we're gonna start with the spread. I moved it up just a little bit, just take it to 14.5 because 14 is part of the critical number. It's 3, 6, and 7 in sports betting. So 12.5, it's a lot of points. I get it. It obviously covers you on the 10 line. And if it does get 28-17, it covers you on an 11 line, but games don't really usually end in 12-point differentials. 14 it makes it a little bit safer. So first leg, Dolphins plus 14.5. I'm going to take Devon Achane 30-plus receiving yards. We know how critical the passing game to the running back, how critical of an element that is in the Dolphins offense. And let me just find out. I want to make sure I get this number right. Yeah, last week he had 92 receiving yards. Now, he only had 20 in week 1, but that's when the Dolphins scored 8 points. I would like to think they would be capable of scoring more than just that. Also, we do know the Bills have a solid defense. So Tua, check the ball down. Don't throw an interception. He's comfortable. He loves him some check downs. And then I'm going to take Josh Allen under 28.5 rushing yards. And I get that sounds weird, but let me just make the case for it. So last week, Josh Allen had a 40-yard run, which is obviously big time. But if you take that out, 5 carries for 19 yards. In week 1 against the Ravens, he ran 14 times for 30 yards. I don't think he's going to put his body on the line that much. And 30 yards, 2.1 yards per carry is pretty bad. And then when these teams played last year, Josh Allen, 2 carries for 2 yards and 2 carries for 7 yards. So he's not been this incredible runner as of late, that 40-yard run notwithstanding. And he barely ran the ball when he played the Dolphins last year. So I'm going to take him under on that line.
I like that. My biggest fear would just be the fact that he can take off and he's capable of having a 30-yard run without even thinking twice, or a couple, big chunk runs to get over the line. But I agree with the take. I just don't. It's hard to put that in there knowing that he can scramble at any time, especially against the Dolphins pass rush that, had a little success against New England Patriots last week. I just don't think they're going to be in a situation where they got to sit back in the pocket and throw the ball down the field. I think it's going to be quick releases. So I would agree. I just wouldn't play it. I like Achane on the receiving. I think that's a really good line based on what he did against the Patriots. He looked fantastic. They're using him as a running back by throwing the football as well. So that's just another reason to lean over on that line. So I like it. I think it's all
also
good.
Drake May last week against the Dolphins, 10 carries for 31 yards. I get it. That's over by 2.5 yards, but it's 3.1 yards per attempt. And 10 carries is a lot. I don't think Josh is going to run that much.
Drake May's also not an athletic freak. Like, I don't know where the baby Josh Allen comparisons came into play. Maybe because of his size. I don't know, but I've heard baby Josh Allen a lot of times when he was coming in the Patriots and all that. He is not even close to Josh Allen. He cannot run like Josh Allen. He's mobile enough to get out of the pocket and convert first downs with his legs, but he's not. You can run designed runs with him too, but he is not a dangerous runner like Josh Allen.
The thing is, I think he's actually probably faster than Josh Allen is, but he's not as good of a runner.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Let's see what their 40 speed was. Drake, man.
Did he run the 40?
He had to, right?
Nah, you can opt out of that.
Okay. It was not recorded at the combine, but he's a 4.6.
Josh Allen's was a 4.75.
And Josh Allen's a freak runner. Josh Allen is so deceptive with how he runs the ball and how he gets in space and the angles that he makes defenders take. And Drake's just he's not like that. And I give Drake all the credit in the world for last week, but he's not a good runner. Not a great runner.
All right, let's hear your touchdown scores, whatever props you got. Let's hear them.
All right, so we'll start with touchdown scores. You can't play Cook or Allen unless you're in a parlay, so I would not do that. I would probably take James Cook plus 420 first touchdown. If you do like a James Cook touchdown, I would stick James Cook touchdown in a parlay. I'd go Achane to score plus 120 anytime. Had the touchdown last week. I think he can have another touchdown this week, so I like that. I also kind of like Tyreek Hill to score plus 175. I think what he did last week as far as extending plays with his legs, the speed outs, there was no answer for what the Patriots did. And I think the fact of the matter is the Bills have to respect the speed once again. Also, he had the 30-yard catch that people were bugging him about, so maybe he finds the end zone this week. So I would take him. I would stay away from Waddle, Shakir, Palmer, Kincaid, maybe if you want to play him, but I'd probably not. So I would say touchdown scorers. I like Tyreek. I like Achane, and then James Cook first touchdown. Now, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
If you got something to say it, because I got a lot more.
The only thing, I'm just looking at this board and I'm wondering at what time do we finally get an Ollie Gordon sighting? Because Achane, he does a great job for them, but but he's not a real running back. He's just not. He had last week, it was 11 carries for 30 yards. In week 1, 7 carries, but 55 yards. Like the way he runs is just not how he doesn't set up the offense. If that was a David Montgomery and then Achane was coming in as the off-speed back and he was the receiving back, it would fit a lot better. I feel like they are missing someone. So one of these days, and I don't know if it's going to be this game or not, but Ollie Gordon's going to get 8 to 10 carries, and I'll probably get a touchdown on one of them. And I'm looking at him from 5-1. So I'm not saying it is this game, but like that game is coming at some point.
I don't know if that's coming until Mike McDaniel is no longer the head coach. Because just the way Mike McDaniel calls his offense, like he's not a power run guy. Like he's running college offenses. We're trying to win with speed. That fits, like Achane fits that mold for him. But I agree, in a normal like pro style system, you probably can't go with Achane to be your number one guy.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and you're probably right about McDaniel, but I don't know. Ollie Gordon was also a great college running back, and he either won the Doak Walker or he was the favorite to win it in 24. 24 is this massively disappointing year, but in 23 he was excellent.
What round did he get drafted in?
It was late, like 5th, 6th, 7th, maybe
6th round. The best Ollie Gordon story is after he gets the DUI. And Mike Gundy is like, we're going to make him, he was talking about like blowing whatever he did on his, on the gun. And he was like, I've done that 1,000 times or whatever. He's like,
oh yeah,
what the punishment's going to be. He's like, well, you're going to make him carry the rock 50 times on Saturday.
That was great. Well, maybe Mike McDaniel does that. Maybe we get a touchdown out of him.
I don't know, but I think Achane scores at least. All right. So now we move into the passing props. I think for the Dolphins to cover in this game, as you were just talking about, Grant, the run game is not fantastic for the Miami Dolphins. Tua has to go over 238.5 passing yards. What did he have last week?
He had 300 something last week.
Yeah, I think this is a game where I don't think they're going to embarrass the Buffalo Bills defense like they did New England Patriots defense. But no matter what, you can't afford to really blitz this team because they're so fast. That plays to the strength of the Dolphins. Those speed outs are there all night. So I think he's going to go over the passing yards there. Josh Allen, I'm going to stay away from the passing yards. I also like Tua to go over 1.5 passing touchdowns for plus 134. I think that's another good value deal, especially with how they looked last week.
Okay, so we are all in on the Dolphins, at least being competitive in this game.
I mean, Tua could throw 2 touchdowns and they still don't cover. Like there is a world for that. I just don't. Probably not, but he could still throw 2 touchdowns and they could lose 50 to 30.
Do we have any final thoughts on this game, or are we good to move on to Sunday picks?
I'm kind of excited for it, but like also not really. I think that the biggest reason to be excited for is just the fact that Mike McDaniel is jobs on the line. So we're going to see how they come out and play for him.
Yeah, this is definitely the worst primetime game we've gotten. So we've had Cowboys, Eagles, which was good. If you want to count the Friday game, Chiefs, Chargers was good. Ravens, Bills, Vikings, great. Bears, which proved to be a very good game. And it was interesting with Caleb and JJ. Commanders, Packers, maybe wasn't that interesting of a watch, but it was a good story. Falcons, Vikings was a good story. Again, the rookie classmates. Bucks, Texans was good. Chargers, Raiders, divisional. That was probably the worst one we've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, you can make the case. Yeah, the Chargers Raiders game was trash. That was a terrible game. But you can make the case that this one's going to be more exciting. Like when you're circling games, like when these games are picked out before the season, like it makes sense why they picked it, obviously. Yeah. But I think this one's more exciting to me than Chargers Raiders because like once the Raiders played about 5 minutes of the football game the other night and they showed Tom Brady up with his headset on, the game stopped being interesting. Like they were never really in it. But yeah, I look at this one saying like, hey, Mike McDaniel, let's see how the team comes out for him. See how the boys play. So it should be interesting.
Let me read you a tweet real quick. We'll get to the Sunday picks in 60 seconds, but let me just read you a tweet. I thought it was interesting. So it's from a Commanders reporter. To people who don't know, I'm obviously a Commanders fan back here. But so it's a guy named Grant Paulson. He says, it's a video of Brady up in the box. And it says, this is such a ridiculous conflict of interest. Brady was just calling the Commanders game last week, got tons of access behind the scenes. Now he's just in the coaching booth hanging out when they play Washington next week. How is this allowed? It's nuts.
So people were making this crazy reaction online last night. It's like there's rules where he cannot go talk to the coaches. He can't do any production meetings. He can't do any of that. I still think it's ridiculous that the man can call games and also sit in the press box and own a team. And if I was Tom Brady personally, I know he's making a ton of money calling for Fox. I would want to do one or the other. Like, I don't think I'd really want to do both, because if I own part of the Raiders, I want to be at all the Raiders games. I want to be supporting the team. I want to be at practice. I want to be doing all that. If I call games on Fox, which is definitely a rush, I want to be doing that and all into that. I don't want to be splitting 50-50. Now, he's getting a boatload of money to do that. I just still, it doesn't sit right with me, but I don't think it's the biggest conflict of interest in the world, because I know if Tom Brady is calling my game, I'm not going to talk to him. Number one, I'm not going to give him any inside information. But the thing is, Kevin Burkhardt can go in and talk to the coaches, and then Kevin Burkhardt can talk to Tom Brady and all that. So it's definitely something to note. But like, if you're better than the Raiders, you're going to beat the Raiders no matter what information you have. Like that's what it comes down to.
You see, Brady is going to be competing in Saudi Arabia.
For what?
He's going to represent the USA in a flag football game. It's like Justin Jefferson and Max Crosby and Sauce Gardner and Tom Brady is the quarterback.
It's crazy what the Saudis are paying for like all these sporting events going over. Like, pay-per-views for UFC is one thing because they've been in Abu Dhabi and all that. But like, I look at WrestleMania. This was a big story. Like, they're doing WrestleMania in Abu Dhabi this year, I think. Like, that is insane to me. You're taking away the entire American population from going to a game or going to a big wrestling event, like the show of the year. I just don't get why they do that. Like, next up is like NFL games in Saudi Arabia. Like, that's only a matter of time.
I mean, they're doing it with fighting. They're doing it with soccer. Ronaldo plays there now. They're doing it with esports, video games. They host the esports World Cup. Anything they can get their hands on, they're trying to bring it there. Yeah.
And then also like F1's there multiple times in the Middle East. So it's just a lot of stuff going on in the Middle East for sporting events. But yeah, they must be for WrestleMania. And I know this is off topic, for the WWE to move a show, that big of a show there, they must be getting so much money.
Sunday picks, Tanner. Sunday NFL picks against the spread.
All right. So we'll just go back and forth. I wonder if we have any of the same picks. If we do, I guess we'll say it, but I'll start with the New England Patriots +1.5 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Aaron Rodgers can still sling it. Some of the throws he made, pretty impressive stuff. But I do think it was a turning point for the Patriots on Sunday against the Miami Dolphins. That was a game where you haven't won in Miami since 2019. You go down there, you find a way to win it. Drake May looked good. The offense looked serviceable. You got a lot of pre-snap penalties you got to clean up. Defensively, you didn't look great, but the Steelers can't do those things to you with speed and motion. They're going to try to run the ball. They're going to hit DK Metcalf for shots, and you got to shut him down. But as far as speed goes, you're not going to have to worry about that. Hopefully Christian Gonzalez is back in the lineup. If he is, makes a huge difference for the Patriots. And I think they go on to win, cover, and advance to 2-1 over the Pittsburgh Steelers.
So I think this is the perfect teaser game. If you get an 8-point teaser, you bring this up to 9.5, you get the Thursday night game, you get the Bills up to like 20.5, and you find another team you like. I think that is the ultimate teaser leg, because I think this is gonna be like a 3-point game, whoever wins. I think the Patriots could easily win in it, but at +1.5, you're almost betting the money line at that point.
Yeah, for sure. And again, you probably take the money line there, but if it's like -105 versus -115, I'd probably rather have the +1.5 just in case it goes to overtime. So I'll take the Patriots there. I think the Patriots win. Who do you think is going to win though, Grant? Like, if you had to give a pick,
I would say the Patriots, but I think it's very close.
Yeah, big game. Big game.
So my first pick, I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings -3 against the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm betting on Carson Wentz in the year 2025. I get it, but hear me out on this. This is not a bet on Carson Wentz. This is a bet on Kevin O'Connell against Zach Taylor. Everything we know about Zach Taylor, from him trying his hardest to lose in week 1 to just the constant issues with the offense, and the offensive line can't hold up, and Burrow is gone again. Jake Browning only played 2 quarters of football, and he had 3 interceptions. Brian Flores, if there's one thing this psychopath knows how to do, it's how to generate some pressure, make the pipes burst, and force those turnovers. Going against Jake Browning, after what I just saw him do against the Jaguars, who aren't even in the same league as the Vikings defensively, when I'm just looking at this coaching battle, backup for backup, okay. Backup quarterbacks, let's just call them even. I get Zach Taylor on one side against Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores. And this is the thing. Kevin O'Connell, he's used to working with backup quarterbacks. He's won games with Nick Mullins. He's won games with Josh Dobbs. He has done this. Sam Darnold was a career backup until he got his hands on him, and then he turned into a damn near an MVP candidate. So I think Carson Wentz can go out, have 205 yards, 1 touchdown, no turnovers, and just play a clean game, and this be like a 20-14 win at home for the Vikings. So I'll take the Vikings at -3 all day.
I didn't have this on my card, but this was one that I really like. The one thing that you're talking about, Grant, where I think you're not wrong, but you're saying like Carson Wentz, backup quarterback, like Carson Wentz a better quarterback than JJ McCarthy. Like they are, the Minnesota Vikings are in a much better situation this week. Like this is a silver platter game for the Minnesota Vikings. You don't have JJ McCarthy, who sucks. He's not ready yet. Let's put it that way. I don't know if he's going to be good, but he's not ready. You also have a situation where the Bengals don't have Joe Burrow, which is the only positive part of that team. So defensively, you're loaded against them. They're a terrible offensive line. Offensively, you're in a better spot than you were against JJ McCarthy. So like, this is not like backup versus starter. Like this is a starter in my mind. They finally got their starting quarterback back. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, from the perspective of the decline, there's a sharp decline from Burrow to Browning, from McCarthy to Wentz. There might, like you said, there might not be any change.
There's no change at all. I would much rather I think if you don't answer this, like whoever talking, like if you say I'd rather have JJ McCarthy than Carson Wentz right now in week 3 of the NFL, you're lying to yourself.
Also, let me just say, if the Bengals go out and trade for Jameis Winston, first of all, do the right thing. Jameis Winston is the first player in NFL history to be benched for being too likable. Jameis Winston is better than a lot of guys who are getting reps right now. But if they trade for Jameis, Jamar Chase is going to have 2,000 yards. Easy.
Oh,
yeah. Him and T. Higgins might have 2,000 yards in the same season.
But, like, can you really do that? Browning's been good. Like, Browning has kept them alive when Burrow.
He has. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Browning's a reliable backup. Like it's not like you're in a situation. I know he had 3 picks last week, but it's not like you're in a situation where it's like, oh my God, like we are totally done with Browning. Browning's proved he can get it done. So I just don't think there's any need to trade for Jameis, as cool as that would be. And they probably are still in a better spot with Jameis. I don't know. Like we haven't seen Jameis play a lot of football lately. You know, like we don't know where he's at. He's more of a vibes guy than a quarterback at this point.
So if I'm making a list of the best backups in the NFL, I'm doing my top 5 would be
Mac Jones. Mac Jones is on.
Oh, I forgot about Mac Jones.
Yeah, Mac Jones is the top. Mac Jones could be the best backup in the NFL.
Okay, let's do Mac Jones. Let's do who are we just? Oh, Jake Browning's up there.
Yeah,
I would say Tanner McKee from the Eagles is up there. I would say Marcus Mariota is up there, and then I think Tyrod Taylor, Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins is probably the best backup in the league, but like that's such a weird situation too, because he's just like sitting there doing nothing. Like they are so dumb. The Minnesota Vikings or the Atlanta Falcons are so dumb to have signed Carson Wentz, to have him here and then not trade him.
Kirk Cousins, but yeah.
Wentz.
All right, pick number 2. What you got?
All right, pick number 2. Chicago Bears -1.5 against the Dallas Cowboys. Or to probably take a money line. We're doing spreads right now. So take them on the money line. I think this is a perfect game for the Chicago Bears. You have a situation where Caleb has not looked good. The offense has not looked good. Ben Johnson's over his head. I think Ben Johnson sucks as a head coach, but this is the chance where he can finally get his first win. You're back at home. Caleb Williams at least had a pulse at home the last time he played there for the Bears in the opening game, at least in the first half. He fell apart in the second half. But the Dallas Cowboys defense is horrendous. They are terrible. This is the worst defense Caleb will face this season. So with knowing how Ben Johnson can scheme up an offense, I think they'll be okay. And then the Bears defensively, they can hang with the Dallas Cowboys for sure. Dallas has a lot of talented offensive players. I think the offense is very good for Dallas, but this is one where you probably lean towards the over, and I think the Bears get it done at home because I give them the defensive edge in the game.
So I can understand why you would make that case. The thing is, I feel like I could also make a case for the Cowboys here, because the Cowboys run the ball better than many people thought they would. They just scored 40 points last week. The Bears, they're so wildly inconsistent, and Caleb Williams is so wildly inconsistent. He can put together 2 to 3 drives where he's perfect, and then he can just not play the rest of the game. So no matter what the spread, no matter who the opponent, the occasion, I'm going to find it difficult to bet on the Bears personally, just because I have no idea what this team is going to look like from one 5-minute interval to the next one.
I mean, if I'm looking at a game, I'm the Bears. This is one that you're circling on the calendar. You have to win it. It's a must-win game. There's no other option for the sake of your season because you're spiraling right now. Ben Johnson. It's funny, too. Ben Johnson, everyone thought he was going to be this great head coach. And again, it's only been 2 games, but he's not going to be a good head coach for Chicago. Nobody can be a good head coach for the Bears.
So my second pick, I'm going to go with the LA Rams plus 3.5 at the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, this is what I want to say about the Eagles. The Eagles are so good at football, and I think you can see that because of how horrible they are to watch and how dumb it looks like their offense is at times. So their players and their execution and certain moments and their ability to just kind of dictate the flow of games, it's become so underrated because all we do is talk about Saquon Barkley hasn't run for more than like 60 yards this season or 70 yards, whatever the number is. Jalen Hurts can't throw the ball more than 5 yards downfield. The offensive coordinator doesn't know what he's doing. A.J. Brown is injured, and now A.J. Brown's reading a book on the sideline. Despite all of that, they continue to win games. So they are underrated in that respect. That being said, who was the one team who really played them tough in the playoffs last year was the LA Rams in a snow game, which did not favor them. If that was 90 degrees and sunny out on the coast, maybe the Rams win that game. I don't know, but I'm just saying the Rams did put up a fight against them. And when I look at what the Rams have done this season, they were sputtering a little bit in the early game, but Stafford had to become reincarnated so he could actually get out on the field, and they still found a way to win that game. They held the Texans to 9 points, good showing by the defense. And the second game, they blow out the Titans, and the Rams have had a lot of problems blowing out bad teams in recent years. So I feel like that was a step in the right direction for them as well, and they still only allowed 19 points. So giving up 14.5 per game, the way this Philadelphia offense is looking right now, I think the Rams can apply the pressure on the defensive line to maybe not overpower, but at least equal what the Eagles' offensive line does. And with these route concepts, with Jalen not throwing the ball, with Saquon not creating the explosive runs, I think that puts the game in the Rams' hands, and they don't even have to win. They can lose by a field goal. So I love this pick.
Yeah, I love this one too. This is on my card as well, so that'll be my third pick. I think the Rams find a way to potentially win the game outright. They've given the Eagles trouble in the past. We saw it in the divisional round last year in the snow game, as you were talking about. And the Eagles, they're beatable. The offense did not look great last week. The Chiefs' defense definitely played well. The Eagles are going to have to be able to score. If the Rams can play as well as they have on defense, I think they're going to be able to throw the ball in the Eagles secondary, because we saw it in week 1 with the Dallas Cowboys. They were throwing the ball all over Philadelphia. Last week, the Chiefs had literally no vertical threats down the field. So it makes sense why the Eagles defense played well. I think this will be a real test for Philadelphia.
Okay, so if that's your third pick, then I guess I'm back up. I'll take the Chargers minus 2.5 against the Broncos. Bo Nix, masterful first half against the Colts. Other than that, it's been 6 really bad quarters. He was arguably the worst quarterback in week 1, completely disappeared in the second half of week 2. So haven't liked what I've seen there. He's still refusing to throw the ball. He doesn't throw it past 10 yards unless he's throwing it 50 yards. Like, there's no real deep game. There's no intermediate game. It's as quick as I can throw it or as far as I can throw it. There's kind of no middle ground. And with them not having an excellent rushing attack, I get that J.K. Dobbins has done a nice job, but they don't have a consistent 100-yard rusher. They don't have somebody consistently creating those explosive plays. With that, going against the Chargers defense that has proven itself through these first 2 weeks, and Chargers offense that has proven itself. Justin Herbert goes out and throws for 300 yards in week 1. In week 2 against the Raiders, the defense is doing its thing. They're like, let's just control the clock, run the ball a little, click completions close to the line of scrimmage, not do anything dumb. I know this is an excellent coaching staff. Not that Sean Payton isn't also a good coach, but you're giving me the superior team at home, and if they win by a field goal, basically, if they win at all, they can cover this line, because how many 2-point wins do you get? Normally, it's at least 3 points. So I like the Chargers in this one a lot.
I don't know. I don't love it. I think the Broncos are due to bounce back a little bit. I still think Denver's defense is legitimate. I think Bo Nix can be good at any time. I think the Chargers haven't played anybody. I'm not going to count the Chiefs in week 1. Like I do not think the Chiefs defensively, Justin Herbert did a lot in that game. It was also the first game of the season. You lose Xavier Worthy. For the Chiefs offensively, there were, again, no vertical downfield threats because Rashee Rice is too busy going 100 miles an hour with guns in his car. So I just think this is a situation where the Chiefs have no vertical threats, right? So it made the Chargers look a little bit better. Last night, the Chargers go in, they play against the Raiders. The Raiders are a trash football team. Just because the Raiders beat the Patriots does not mean they're a good football team. So like they're all like that's the scum of the NFL, and it's impressive. Don't get me wrong, beating the Chiefs, but the Raiders are the scum of the NFL. Broncos are going to be a little bit more of a test.
Okay, fair enough. All right, what you got for your number 4?
Baltimore Ravens -5.5 against the Detroit Lions. This is a prove me wrong kind of game. If I'm Detroit, I'm betting against Detroit here. Prove me wrong, Detroit, because you go in week 1, you get absolutely blown out by the Green Bay Packers. Now, the Baltimore Ravens are a team on the same level as the Green Bay Packers. They are better than the Green Bay Packers. So when I'm looking at that, Detroit goes to last week and dominates the Chicago Bears at home. The Chicago Bears are a trash football team. So now you got to go on the road and prove me wrong against a team like the Baltimore Ravens. I will take the Ravens in the spot. Baltimore didn't look great against the Browns. They looked as good as I thought they would look at a division game. They cover the spread. It's hard to cover double-digit spreads. They were able to do that. I just think this is a game where if you're the Baltimore Ravens, you're going to come out, establish the rushing attack, keep clock control. I think Lamar's going to be good in this game. This is finally a game where they can really show who they are to the league. I think they do that against the Lions. I think the Lions come up short. I still think Detroit's going to be a good football team this year. I still think they're going to be competitive in the NFC, but the 5.5 seems a little juicy for Detroit. I don't necessarily think it is because last week you can't say they're back after beating the Bears.
Some books have this line all the way up at 6 points, which is, it makes me think of, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the OKC Thunder, where it's like they could be playing a good team and they would be favored by 12. Just because they're so dominant, and they're not just a good team. They are an excellent team among the rest of the very good teams. That's how I feel about the Baltimore Ravens. I get it. They lost in week 1. They were up by 15 with 4 minutes left, whatever it was. They should have closed the door on that one. This is a big game for the Lions, but also what do we know about Lamar against those NFC teams? We know the NFC teams cannot stop Lamar Jackson because they don't play anybody like him. Now we have I don't want to say a replica because that's not fair, but we have a at least similar sort of player in Jaden Daniels. What happened when he played the Lions last year in the playoffs? They had no hope of defending him. I get it. It was backups because they were an injured team, but all this does favor the Ravens here, who are at home, who are getting some extra rest. And Derrick Henry, we saw the night he had in the first week of the season. We saw kind of night Lamar had throwing the ball in the second week of the season. It looks crazy because it's 5.5, 6 point line. But when you think about it, like, could this game be hovering back and forth between a 0 point game, like a tie game, and then a touchdown game? Yes, it could. And then someone's got to win eventually. So, yeah, I think the Ravens could end up winning by like a touchdown in a close game, but still cover this line.
Yep. All right. What's number 5 for you?
I'm on number 4. So I'm going to go with the Packers at -8 against the Browns. And this is kind of just doing a 180 because I wanted to go with the Browns against a divisional opponent. And if the Packers were a divisional opponent, maybe I'd feel a little differently here. But I saw what we were talking about earlier on, which is when you look at the Browns and they're going against a team that it's a high spread game, it's all got to be defense. The Browns have to cover by saying, hey, whoever we're playing is not getting to 20 points. We're going to score 13, and that's how we're going to cover the spread. Well, when I look at this Packers offense, they can score points. They've proven that. They are extremely well coached. Jordan Love is throwing the heck out of the football. Like, he is pushing the gas pedal down, airing it out 15, 20 yards every single play. That combined with a good offensive line, combined with a solid running game, combined with that defense. I saw what they did to Jared Goff. I saw what they did to Jaden Daniels. Joe Flacco is totally immobile back there. And of those 3 quarterbacks, he's by far the most prone to throw an interception, especially when there is Michael Parsons or Rashawn Gary bearing down on him. So I think you're going to get some turnovers from the Packers in this game. Here's a fun little stat. Normally it's square to bet road favorites. This season, road favorites are 9-5 against the spread, 64.3% there. So although they got to win by more than a touchdown, the Packers are better than the Browns by more than a touchdown. So I will take them on the road.
Okay. Grant's taking that. I like it. I think the Packers are a very good football team. I think they're going to dominate the game, whether it was division or not. I don't think they'll have any. I don't think they would have any trouble covering against the Browns, because the Browns have to be so perfect defensively, and you need to be able to score in the NFL. Because eventually, an offense like Green Bay, like they could put up 17 points in this game, and I could see the Browns putting up 7 points, and that means there's a nice little cover there for the Pack. Final pick for me. Kansas City Chiefs -5.5 at the New York Giants. This is a must-win football game. Words can't describe how must-win this is for both teams, really. I think Kansas City, though, needs it a little bit more, because we didn't expect the Giants to be good. We expected the Kansas City Chiefs to be good. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce obviously had the mess up last week, which cost them the game. I do think they probably win that game if they're able to catch that touchdown. But now you get Xavier Worthy back in the mix. Hopefully, if he's good, it adds a downfield threat. When Rashee Rice comes back, I think this offense is going to look a lot different. But with Xavier Worthy, they're good enough to go in and beat the Giants, especially with how the Giants looked on defense last week. And to top it off, you just don't know what you're going to get from the quarterback position. Week 1, it's really good for the Giants. Week 1, it's really bad. Week 2, it's much better. I think this is a week where the Chiefs need to win. We're going to show that Russell Wilson's going to struggle, and the Chiefs are going to go out and get the job done.
I can understand why you would say that. I still worry, just there is such a severe lack of playmakers on that Chiefs offense. I don't know how many times they're going to win touchdowns by 7+ points, or win games by 7+ points, win by a touchdown. But it's Russell Wilson. It's the Giants. I get it. They scored 37 points last week. They also scored 6 in week 1. You never really know what you're going to get from them. And this Chiefs defense is still very good. We saw that last week. So I if I had to pick there, this is not my card, but if I had to pick, I would be taking the Chiefs side of that as well. My final pick, I'm going to get on out of here. I'm going to go against your boy. I'm going to go against Mac Jones. I'm going to take the Cardinals at +1.5. Mac Jones did what backup quarterbacks do, which is the starter goes down. You need to trust on them to go win a game. Okay, I'll do that. Mac Jones did it. He was very good against the worst team in football. I want to make that clear. Against the Saints, who are absolutely awful, might not win a game this year. But the thing with backup quarterbacks is they can look good for a game. They can look good for a couple of games in a 4-game stretch. Week to week, they can't look good, or at least they don't usually. If they did, they would be starting quarterbacks. Mac Jones can go out and throw for 260 and 3 touchdowns, whatever he did against the Saints, and then he can come out in this game, have 180, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and you would say that's probably what was expected. The Cardinals, I get it. They didn't cover against the Panthers last week, but that game was 27-22. It was actually 27-9 in the fourth quarter. The Panthers really flattered themselves with that final score. That game was not close. The Cardinals did cover against the Saints, the same team the 49ers just covered against in week 1. Kyler Murray, it's early season Kyler Murray. The lack of film study, the late nights grinding Call of Duty hasn't caught up to him yet. This is still a 49ers team I've got a lot of concerns about. Christian McCaffrey, we had an argument about him last week. Still don't think he looks great. He averaged 4 yards a carry, 60-something yards last week. I think Cardinals defense is still solid. Kyler Murray, it's early. Call of Duty's not gotten to him yet. I'll take them to cover.
I like the Niners.
I know you do. You're a Mac Jones guy.
I think the Niners. I don't think much of the Cardinals yet. I mean, they're just too up and down. I know what I'm going to get with Mac Jones. I'm going to get 300 yards. I'm going to get an efficient game through the air. I'm going to get a good run game with Christian McCaffrey. The Niners defense is better. I'll take the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay. Well, I mean, for the most part, we do have similar picks for most of these games. I'll be interested to see. We'll come back. We'll be back on Friday. So we will have the results of obviously the Thursday night picks. If you guys are seeing this, by the way, we uploaded this in a couple of different videos. If you are only seeing the Sunday picks, make sure you do go check out our Thursday night picks as well, because not only do we have picks for the major markets, we got player props and parlays there as well. So another reason to make sure you are subscribed to the channel.
Yeah. That was Ride the Line, the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. We will see you next time for another episode.